The euphoria of reaching the Capital One final was quickly masked by news that Kevin De Bruyne is out for 10 weeks for Manchester City, so a strong price to pay for introducing that ginger wizard into the game, in which he was so effective, as you could see, against Everton. So the question has came up, many outlets have ran it. What do we think? What is going to happen now that Kevin De Bruyne is out injured for Manchester City? How will they change tactically? Who will come into that position? To answer the first question, tactically, Pellegrini does not know any other tactic, I'm afraid. So it's not going to change much. So we're deciding to do a little bit of some tactical analysis to decide how Manchester City could cope with losing one of their best players. So this is a lineup that we imagine they'll go to, as you expect that back four is to stay strong. But there's two different examples, I think. One is they push Turi a little bit more defensive, maybe swap out Fabian Delph in order to have someone come into that position. Jesus Navas would be the go-to to come in as a straight replacement. He'll be no means as effective as Kevin De Bruyne, in my point of view. Navas is very touch and go. Sometimes he'll provide moments of brilliance, but I just don't think he's really lived up to his price tag or the fact that he's been expected to be one of the most effective players in the Premier League. I think that he's very fast. He can, at times, provide some crossing abilities, a little bit lightweight. But what this will mean, I think, is more important if you play Navas. I'm going to talk about someone in particular, and that's David Silva. Now, David Silva's had a phenomenal season, of course, before his injury. For me, he was the best player in the Premier League this season. At the very start, he was phenomenal. It's because he was able to, I would say, take up positions in which no one else was really masking his ability to get the ball and move it right between that back line and the midfield pairing, whoever it may be. He finds this area specifically in here. So ever since Kevin De Bruyne has fully taken up this position in Manchester City, he usually comes into this area. And what David Silva has often been doing, which is still effective for the team, but not as much so for his individual performances, is he acts as a decoy at times. So he'll make this run in here, usually where he'll get the ball, but he'll check out and allow for Kevin De Bruyne to cut into this area. As we know, very effective cutting inside. I believe he's got 5 goals and 9 assists this season from doing that very motion as he cuts inside, and he'll either strike the ball, very good striker of the ball, or he'll find that gap in there. And it's worked for Manchester City when it does pay off. But David Silva is a talent that I believe just has to be given free reign in that area. So with De Bruyne out, you're going to see Jesus Navas take up the ball a lot more in this area, try to find the direct pass in there, and what his job, for me, is to find David Silva in those little pockets, because that's where Silva works best. He's comfortable in the chaos to get the ball into feet and find that area where you really need someone with that technical ability, that flair to do something. But the other lineup that I think Manchester City could go with is how they lined up exactly against Everton. So let's take a look at that lineup. So this is familiar. Obviously, this is the exact lineup that they started with, which they can go with because they started with this. But again, I didn't think they were as effective until Kevin De Bruyne came on and changed the game. Same back four, but Fernandinho and Delph. Delph, I think, is a very good utility player, box to box, holds the ball well, but that's allowing Yaya Toure to push forward where he is effective, where he has got that presence, where he doesn't have to worry so much defensively, but pick up the ball in those dangerous positions and basically be as effective as he could be. And then Silva would push out wide right, not as effective, but sometimes will interchange Sterling and Aguero up top. I don't think it affects Aguero as much, but in this example, this is the exact reason why I don't believe David Silva is as effective out there, because you'll get Yaya Toure taking up that space. He likes to pick up the ball a little bit deeper and drive into that area. But for me, a key point in figuring out how Manchester City will go forward and, for me, still win the Premier League, I've stated all along, I still believe they will win it. It's going to be an even tougher uphill task. But it's allowing now David Silva the ability to say, this is my Premier League. This is where I'm going to be effective. I'm going to take up that central position. I would drop Toure back a little bit more, and then I would go between Fernandinho and Delph. You could even play Delph and Toure in there. Still a hard-working, strong midfield pairing. But at this point, you can't be hesitant. Pellegrini cannot be hesitant. He can't think, okay, we'll just replace De Bruyne with Navas and stick with that same trio in there of Toure, Delph, and Fernandinho. I think this is providing the perfect opportunity. Man City fans may agree or disagree, for David Silva to step back up to the plate and say, this is up to me now. I'm going to find Aguero in those positions. I'm going to find Sterling out wide. It's down to me. And let's see if he can handle it. I think he can. He's shown plenty of times this season that he is one of the best midfielders in the Premier League and in the world. But we want to know what you guys think. Let us know in the comment section below. How will Manchester City cope without the Belgian international Kevin De Bruyne? Do you think this is going to affect their title challenges? Do you think Arsenal and Leicester will go on and take this as a potential boost of their Premier League campaign? Hit us up in the comments, as I mentioned, at Twitter, at Francis_Maxwell, and at TYT Sport.